Flight 718 lifted smoothly off the runway just after sunrise, its massive wings cutting through the pale orange sky. Inside the cabin, passengers settled into their seats, unaware that this routine journey would soon become a fight against time itself. Seatbelt signs blinked off, coffee carts rolled, a baby cried softly somewhere near the back. In the cockpit, Captain William Anders checked the instruments with calm precision. 30 years of flying had trained his hands to move without thought. Beside him, First Officer Daniel Brooks monitored the autopilot, relaxed but alert. Everything was normal, until it wasn't. Captain Anders paused mid-sentence. His hand slipped from the throttle. His breathing turned shallow, uneven. Captain?" Brooks asked, glancing over. There was no response. The captain's body slumped forward, his head hitting the panel with a dull thud. Warning lights flickered as the aircraft slightly veered before the autopilot corrected it. "Captain! Captain Anders!" Brooks shouted, grabbing his shoulder. Nothing. Panic struck like lightning. Brooks immediately hit the autopilot lock and called the cabin crew. His voice trembled despite his effort to stay calm. "Flight attendant to cockpit, medical emergency. Now!" Within seconds, the senior flight attendant rushed in. One look at the captain told her the truth. His skin was pale, sweat soaked his uniform, and his pulse was dangerously weak. "He's having a heart attack," she whispered. At 34,000 feet, over rough weather, with nearly 200 passengers on board, Brooks swallowed hard. He had trained for emergencies, but never for this, never for being alone in the cockpit with a dying captain. The flight attendant ran back into the cabin and grabbed the intercom. "Ladies and gentlemen," she said, forcing steadiness into her voice, "we have a medical emergency in the cockpit. If there is anyone on board with medical or aviation experience, please notify the crew immediately." Murmurs spread through the cabin. Fear passed from row to row like an invisible wave. A retired nurse stood up. A doctor raised his hand. They rushed forward to help the captain, but the flight attendant's eyes searched for something else. A pilot. Seconds passed. Then a minute. Nothing. Brooks wiped sweat from his forehead. He tried to contact air traffic control, but his voice cracked. "Mayday, Mayday. This is Flight 718. Captain incapacitated." ATC responded instantly, but their instructions felt overwhelming. Altitude, headings, weather deviations. It was too much at once. Brooks had flown this aircraft before, but always with a captain guiding him. Now the responsibility sat heavily on his chest. In the cabin, tension thickened. People whispered prayers. Some held hands. Others stared out the windows as if the sky itself, a quiet movement in the middle of the aircraft, might give answers. Then, from seat 12C, a woman slowly unbuckled her seatbelt. She didn't rush. She didn't panic. She simply stood. The flight attendant noticed her first. "Ma'am," she asked gently, "do you need assistance?" The woman shook her head. Her voice was calm, almost unnervingly so. "I heard the announcement," she said. "I have aviation experience." The attendant's eyes widened with hope. "You're a commercial pilot?" The woman paused, then answered honestly. "No." A flicker of disappointment crossed the attendant's face. "I'm a fighter pilot." The surrounding passengers turned to look. "I fly F-22 Raptors," the woman continued. "United States Marine Corps." The cabin went silent. No one laughed. No one doubted her. There was something in her posture, controlled, disciplined, steady, that silenced every question. "My name is Captain Rachel Hale," she said. "If your cockpit needs help, I'm available." The attendant didn't hesitate. "Please come with me." As Rachel walked down the aisle, whispers followed her like echoes. "Did she say F-22? A fighter pilot? Is this real?" Rachel ignored them all. Her heart was calm, not because she wasn't afraid, but because fear was something she had learned to command. She had landed jets on damaged runways. She had flown through missile warnings and engine failures. But this was different. A commercial aircraft, civilian lives, no ejection seat. When she reached the cockpit, the sight hit her hard. Captain Anders lay unconscious, oxygen mask pressed to his face. A doctor worked frantically, calling out vitals. Brooks stood frozen at the controls, eyes wide, breathing shallow. Rachel stepped in. "First officer," she said firmly. Brooks turned. For a brief second, relief flooded his face, then doubt. "You're military?" he asked. "Yes," she replied, "and right now you're not alone." She scanned the instruments. Altitude stable, autopilot engaged, fuel levels safe for now. Her mind began building a picture, piece by piece. "ATC is on standby," Brooks said. "Weather ahead is bad. I don't know if I can—" Rachel placed a hand on the console, grounding the moment. "Listen to me," she said calmly. "This aircraft wants to fly. We just have to let it." The doctor looked up. "Captain needs immediate hospital care," he said. "Minutes matter." Rachel nodded once. Then she keyed the radio. "This is Captain Rachel Hale, United States Marine Corps," she said clearly. "I'm assisting Flight 718. The captain is incapacitated. Request priority handling." There was a pause. Then disbelief. "Say again, Flight 718?" Rachel repeated herself. And this time the tone on the other end changed completely. As clouds thickened ahead and alarms blinked softly in the cockpit, Rachel took her position, not as a hero, not as a miracle, but as a pilot who understood one truth better than anyone else. When everything goes wrong in the sky, training decides who lives. And the hardest part was yet to come. The cockpit felt smaller now, not because of the number of people inside, but because of the weight of responsibility pressing in from every direction. The rhythmic hum of the engines was the only sound holding chaos at bay. Captain Rachel Hale took a slow breath. "First Officer Brooks," she said evenly, "I need you with me. Not ahead of me, not behind me, with me." Brooks nodded, swallowing hard. Air traffic control crackled through the speakers. "Flight 718, this is Denver Center. Confirm you have a military pilot in the cockpit?" Rachel leaned forward and keyed the mic. "Affirmative. I fly F-22 Raptors. I'm not type-rated on this aircraft, but I am current, qualified, and able to assist." A long pause followed. "Understood," ATC replied carefully. "Emergency services are standing by. We'll talk you down." Rachel glanced at the primary flight display. Altitude steady, speed stable, fuel sufficient, but only if they didn't waste time. The doctor's voice cut through the tension. "Captain Anders is critical. Blood pressure is dropping. He needs a hospital now." Rachel didn't look back. "Then we don't have time for perfect," she said. "We go for possible." Thunderheads loomed ahead on the weather radar, glowing red like warnings from another world. Rachel adjusted the heading slightly. "Brooks," she said, "you fly the checklist. I fly the picture." Her fingers moved with confidence, not because she knew this cockpit, but because every aircraft shared the same language: lift, thrust, drag, gravity. She spoke to ATC again. "We need the nearest suitable runway, long, wide, clear weather if possible." ATC responded immediately. "Cheyenne Regional Airport, 10 minutes out. Runway is clear. Wind is moderate. You'll have priority." Rachel nodded. "Good enough." In the cabin, passengers felt the aircraft begin its descent. The change was subtle, but fear sharpened every sensation. Seatbelts clicked on. Some people cried quietly. Others stared straight ahead, afraid to blink. A child asked his mother if they were going to die. She didn't answer. Back in the cockpit, Brooks's hands trembled as he read off speeds and settings. "I've never landed without a captain," he admitted. Rachel glanced at him. "Then today you become one." She coached him through each step, her voice steady and firm. "Trust your instruments. Ignore the noise. The jet doesn't care how scared you are. It only cares what you tell it to do." As they broke through the cloud layer, the runway lights appeared in the distance, thin, fragile, almost unreal. "There," Brooks whispered. "Focus, we're not there yet." Rachel's eyes narrowed. A sudden crosswind jolted the aircraft. Warning chimes sounded. Brooks froze. I'm losing the glide slope." Rachel reached forward, not to take control, but to guide. "Easy," she said. "Small corrections. Fighter jets teach you one thing above all else. Overcorrect, and you die." The plane stabilized. Sweat ran down Brooks' back. His hands moved again. ATC's voice returned, quieter now, respectful. "Flight 718, you're lined up. Runway is yours." Rachel took a breath. "This is it." At 200 feet, the aircraft rocked again. "Stay with it," Rachel said. "Eyes up." At 50 feet, she spoke the final command. Now, gentle, let her land. The wheels hit the runway, hard but straight. The cabin exploded in screams, then cheers, then tears. Reverse thrust roared. The aircraft slowed. Emergency vehicles raced alongside. When the plane finally came to a stop, silence returned, followed by applause so loud it felt like thunder. Brooks slumped back in his seat, shaking. "We did it," he whispered. Rachel closed her eyes for a brief moment. "Yes," she said, "you did." Medics rushed into the cockpit and took Captain Anders away. As they worked, Brooks turned to Rachel. "They're calling you a hero," he said softly. Rachel shook her head. "I didn't land the plane," she replied. "I just reminded you how." When she stepped back into the cabin, every passenger stood. Some cried openly, others reached out to touch her sleeve, her hand, her shoulder, as if to confirm she was real. Rachel raised her hands gently. "Please," she said, "sit down. Let's get everyone off safely." A man in the front row saluted her. So did another, and another. Rachel paused, surprised. She returned the salute, not as a spectacle, but as respect. At the terminal, as she walked away quietly, a reporter called out, "Captain Hale, why didn't you tell anyone who you were?" Rachel stopped. "Because in the sky," she said, "titles don't matter. Training does." She walked on. Flight 718 would be remembered for years. News headlines would talk about the miracle passenger, the Marine pilot, the impossible landing. But Rachel Hale returned to her seat, her life, her duty, knowing that sometimes the most powerful weapon isn't a jet. It's being ready when the sky asks everything of you.